Hey guys, this is Daniel, Dr. D, and I'm back with another review, and this time it is on Kenny Russell's Dynaco ST70, man. I never thought I was going to have another ST70 in here, but the more I read about this thing, I was just getting curious, and Kenny had got that new website of his up and running, and I'm like, man, I can't resist. Because I always wanted to hear one of his builds, because it's based on the original circuit. And the original circuit, and what's special about it, and why it's different from any of the other ST70s I've reviewed on this channel, is because it's based more on the original vintage sound. And I think we've gotten away from that, at least the industry has. And we've gotten into that kind of bright, analytical kind of sound. And that's kind of what I was brought up with, because when I started in audio about 7 years ago, most of the stuff I was listening to had that sound. And I found myself easing away from it, and that was why I was getting into the Allen Eaton amps and the, you know, the First Watt, for example, or like you know, hearing the First Watts and the deck wearers. They kind of had that warmer, sweeter, vintage, smooth sound, you know. But man, I'm going to tell you, I'm just going to be straightforward with you right now. When I was playing jazz through this thing for the first time, I knew in 10 seconds flat I was in love with this thing. That's how different it was, and I could tell right away. And it floors me because I have the ST35s, and I'm keeping the ST35s. I love the ST35 amplifier, and this is just a bigger version of it, basically, because ST35 uses the original circuit too. It hasn't really changed. But what's so unique and what's so special about this thing is there's several improvements across the board. The transformers have a higher, handle a higher voltage. I think the original ones were like 117. This one handles like 120, 125 volts, these transformers. So these are the latest, greatest transformers. It's running on the EL34 output tubes, which is nice, which is part of the original setup. But the thing that's cool is this circuit is what's special. And not just that, it's more importantly, these components that Kenny's using are like the latest, greatest technology, and they just didn't have that kind of technology available back in the day in 1959. And this is You know, when the original kits were sold, there was like over 350,000 units sold, man. But this one's, you know, comes built because he, you know, he does them for you. But if you look at these, I mean, some of these, like these cans on here are just ridiculous in size. And the quality is superb. The build quality is good, and the components are just high quality. And I think it adds up to a winning combination, you know, and it's certainly won my heart and soul. The rectifier is cool. It uses a solid state rectifier. And I'm going to tell you, I was dubious about it at first, but I was dead wrong. You know, what that does is it helps reduce the transformer load, and then it also runs cooler, and then plus you get better bass control, damping, balance. It's reliable, it's less expensive, which keeps the overall cost of the unit down, which is nice. The tubes, you know, the front input tubes that you see right here are based on the 6G-H8A input linear stage, and that is what, well, it's an ultra linear stage is what this is. And you can also use the 6U8A tubes as well if you like. You have that option to run those. But the tubes here are the 6G-H8As, and man, I don't even know. You know, like I was listening to YYZ by Rush and some Led Zeppelin, and I was playing some Toto, and the bass slam out of this thing is ridiculous, man. I mean, it takes it, elevates it to a new level, for me at least. More than I'm going to ever need, but you know, reasonably, I mean, I defy anybody, man, to put this up against solid state with reasonably efficient speakers. You know, for me, man, the bass impact is just like floored me. And the other thing that's cool is the phantom image. And a phantom image, like, I'm going to back out here for a second here. And the phantom image is an effect that you get when you play your music. You get instruments sounding like they're coming over here in the center, and that to me just floored me. You know, you're listening to a stereo, but the music, some of the instruments sound like they're coming from here. It is such a trip. It is like three-dimensional. You know what I mean? Anyway, man, I'm sorry. I'm just so pumped up when I've been listening to this thing since Thursday, nonstop, and you know, I think my wife's ready to divorce me. You know, yeah, I can't say enough, man. I mean, I'm playing Jazz at the Pawn Shop and the Aham album by Charles Mingus, and these pressings are fantastic, man. And, you know, listening to Gene Harris and Scott Hamilton, man, it's like silk, you know, listening to this thing. And, man, it gets up and goes, too. It's not even just that. Now, listen, I'm not a sales guy for Kenny. It might seem that way because I review so much of his stuff, but the truth is that I like the work he does. And he answers all my questions, and I want to come back. And it's like, it can't resist, you know. The guy's like a freaking vampire or something, you know. I don't know what it is. I can't shake the guy, you know. But I really love when people do nice work. It's not because, you know, this industry, one of the things I dislike about our industry is people don't say enough nice things about other people. You know, we complain so much about everything, and we moan. And once you go out, you know, stop and ask yourself how many times you complimented somebody or said something nice to somebody instead of complaining about something. And that's why I do this. It isn't because I'm running a business I could care less. I can't stand marketing. If you watch any of my videos, I will tell you that. This is not a marketing video. It's just the way I feel about this stuff, you know. And these guys they don't get rich doing this stuff. They're not running big companies and corporate offices and making big bucks off this stuff. This stuff is come from the heart and soul. And that's what Kenny does. You know, you look at the craftsmanship, you look at the work, you look at the build quality, and to me, it just floors me. And I like that integrity, you know. And that's why I just keep getting sucked back in, you know. So, anyway, that's my take on this thing, man. You know, take it as you wish. I'll be back at you soon. Take care.